Good evening, everyone. It's 2019. Welcome to this chambers of the Orange City Municipal Council. We'd like to start the meeting. What time is it, Madam Clerk? Is that 7:05? We start the meeting at 7:05.
Good evening. This is a conference meeting of the City Council of the City of Orange Township held in Council Chambers of City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, on Thursday, January 3rd, 2019, at 7:05 p.m. Roll call. Councilwoman Eason? Here. Councilman Jackson?
Here.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Here.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson is absent. Councilwoman Williams is absent. Councilwoman Wooten? Here. Council President Coley is absent. Also present is Joyce Lanier, the City Clerk, Chris M. Hartwick, the Business Administrator, Gracia R. Montellis, the City Attorney, Marty Mays, Planning and Public Works Director, what's your name? Captain Bogier, Police Department, William Bogier, Police Department, Marlon G. Towns, Legislative Research Officer, and Lisette Sanchez, Records Support Technician, Clerk's Office. Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. Director Todd Warren arrived at 7:07. Please be apprised, anyone wishing to discuss agenda or general items shall sign one book. Each person signing the book will be allowed to speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. The requirements of NJSA 10:4-9 et sec, the Sunshine Law, has been met. A notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, published in a record transcript on July 12, 2018, posted on the bulletin board in City Hall, and filed in the office of the City Clerk. Matters for discussion. We don't have any matters for discussion, do we?
I was going to ask if the council would permit Captain Bogier to speak on the one resolution regarding the Tommy submachine gun, so that you could have that information before we got to that part of the meeting. And I could then release him to actually go do his job. To go cut it in half.
Captain Bogier?
Good evening.
Good evening, Captain.
Good evening.
I understand that there might have been some questions regarding the resolution for the Thompson submachine gun in exchange for 5 new shotguns, and I just wanted to take a moment to explain the process, what we researched, what we found out, and what our resolution is.
For the record, that's 3-2019 resolution.
Yes, correct. The weapon in question is a 1929 Thompson submachine gun that was acquired by the City of Orange Police Department at that time. And I suppose back in the 20s with Prohibition and Elliott Ness and such, Thompson submachine guns were the weapon of the day. But they're no longer allowed to be utilized by any police department. On top of that, in 1934, I guess again because of all the violence during Prohibition, the federal government passed a law called the Federal Machine Gun Registration Act, and at that time, the City of Orange would had to have registered the weapon in order for it to be passed along, sold to any other entity or individual. They did not do that. We confirmed that with direct contact to ATF in Washington. They researched our particular weapon by its particular serial number. As a result, it is basically borderline contraband. We can't use it. We can't sell it because it was never registered in 1934, and it's basically a pretty neat-looking paperweight that sat in the armory our armory for the last 50-plus years. I believe the last time it was used was taken out of the armory to be used was 1966, which is before many people here were born. So it's really just languishing in the building. Our other option is to turn it over to the state police, and they will melt it down, and it becomes a wheel on somebody's future car, which seems kind of sad. The last option that we were able to come up with was we tracked down a group called the Thompson Submachine Gun Collectors Association of America. Yeah, it rolls right off your tongue. And they are, I guess, zealots that do have registered submachine guns that were registered at the time, so they legally collect them. So one of their members is located in Wyckoff, New Jersey. He happens to own a police products business, and he inspected the weapon whilst we watched, and he and their group are able to utilize specific pieces of our weapon. So the way that it could be legally passed on from Orange would be to cut the receiver, which is essentially the main section of the weapon that allows it to fire rounds. Cut the receiver in half, which would be done under witness of police department personnel, including our armorer. It would also then, we would photograph it to document it, and it would render the weapon ineffective. What they wind up with for doing that is if someone in their group needs a new stock on their Thompson submachine gun, or a trigger or a barrel, they have those pieces to sell out. So it's sort of like if you had a totaled car, but somebody wants to buy the fender so that they can make their car whole again, it's analogous to that. If we looked at the possibility maybe even of donating it to a museum, but that still means that you're passing along the ownership of the weapon, which, again, since it was never registered in 1934, brings us right back to the first problem. It can't be moved out of our possession. So this allows us a couple of things. We have 3 shotguns that were old when I joined the department in 1995, and they are kind of old. Council President Kerry Coley, I know, shot them when he came on in his career. So they've been around a while. We've both utilized them, and they're worn and need replacement. So we're able to turn those 3 in to this, Police Products Corp. Out of Wyckoff. Turn in the Thompson submachine gun where they cut the receiver in half to us witnessing it, and then they sell out the pieces, and in exchange we get 5 new Remington shotguns that are to the specs that we're looking for the Orange Police Department.
So we got to give up the submachine gun too?
Yes.
Before you start, for the record, Council President Coley arrived at 7:10, and Councilwoman Summers Johnson arrived at 7:08.
If I recall correctly, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we did something similar to this.
We did. There was a difference, though. The difference was, and I can't speak to why, but back in the 20s, Orange had 2 Thompson submachine guns.
I thought it was 3.
2 when I came on.
Yeah, I thought-
They had the wherewithal, and while during our tenure, when one of those 2 was sold whole, but that was because it was registered. So the city at one point registered one, but failed to register the other. And as I was saying, I don't know if you caught it when you came in, but our other option, because it really, I would argue, it's potentially a liability if it were to ever somehow wind up getting utilized or something. I mean, it's sat in an armory and it's sitting underneath other boxes of ammo and other weapons and such, basically just rusting from the relative humidity that sits in the armory. So I'm nostalgic for it. It's a beautiful weapon, or was back in the day. But other than giving it to state police to melt down at $0 to the city, it serves us no purpose.
I apologize, I came in a little late.
No problem.
Do we have the actual appraisal for this weapon?
They won't offer an appraisal. It can't be appraised, or can be, but it's meaningless because it can't be sold whole. The last one was sold somewhere in that $20,000 to $25,000 range. If we're registered, it would be a fantastic opportunity for the city to be able to purchase all sorts, maybe a new police car in exchange for it. But we're not in that situation with this particular weapon.
Like I was thinking out loud with the BA, I think earlier yesterday or today. This is just me speaking. It's a historic piece.
It is.
Orange has a lot of history, and it's been sitting in an armory now, what, maybe 50-plus years now,
Yeah.
without incident. So I don't think that it will sit there and some type of, person who come in there and will take it and do something with it.
Right.
Like I told the BA, I don't know where the city of Orange is going to go 10, 15, 20, 50 years down the road. Maybe we may even have a museum here in Orange one day. I don't know. But that piece could be a fantastic piece if we do, years from now, decide to have a museum in Orange. That would be a fantastic piece to put in the museum, rather than sell it to.
Well, here's the dilemma with the museum. If it's not a Orange Police Museum, it's changing its ownership from the Orange City Police Department, and you can't change its ownership. So it would have to be a Orange Police Museum, not a City of Orange Museum located at the new facility at Main and Day or wherever one were to pop up. And you'd still have a vicarious liability if someone broke a showcase open, took it, and it disappeared. Even if it was never used, you'd still have that potential of it rearing its ugly head at some point. Likely, probably not. But I can tell you this, it's languished in our armory. It was in the old building at Lincoln where it was untouched, and it's now sat in our building since 2001, where the last time I went and checked and took it over to Wyckoff to get it assessed for what is essentially breaking it up into parts like a totaled car, we had to pull away a couple of other pieces of equipment to get to it. It's just sitting on a shelf, and it's been sitting there languishing for the last, since 2001 in our building, and 50 years before in a Lincoln Act building. Like I said, I've looked at it, and I'm not crazy about guns. I appreciate them, and that weapon comes back to that whole Elliot Ness history kind of thing, but we're in a day and age right now where gun control is at the front of almost every conversation regarding everything going on. So I don't see a future where it's likely to say, take it out and we can use it again. We did just sit down, this conclusion was not something just I came to, this was command staff meeting to discuss ways to procure new items without additional cost to the city. So here's a rare incidence where the end result is we get 5 practical usable shotguns in exchange for a weapon right now that, as nice as it is and as appealing as it is serving us no greater good other than nostalgia.
Right.
For the record, Councilwoman Williams arrived at 7:14, and Director Mapp arrived at 7:18.
Me, I'm just,
No, what they got? No stop. Well, anyway, President.
Councilwoman Neeson.
So, Captain Bonjour, you guys have done your research and you've been through all of the gyrations to make sure that that is the proper thing to do, and it won't have, because I believe in historic items too, but I don't think we need to keep that around if you guys can utilize it to get more up-to-date equipment for the police department without costing us any money, because we had the same problem at Orange High School when we had the showcase with all of the paraphernalia with the footballs and stuff, trophies and stuff, and the Booster Club worked to reserve that stuff. A lot of that stuff got packed up, got broken, and it just disappeared. So I think that's a good idea. I'm in support of it. I think it's a great idea, because even though we say historic, if you don't have somebody who's really manning it and taking care of it and take pride in it, it's just for naught anyway. So.
Right. It doesn't fit the footprint of our current mission.
Exactly.
It doesn't fit the climate today. It was a year's research to get to where we are with it, and we felt it was a practical option to, like I said, to come away with shotguns to replace the worn shotguns. We've been working to grow the police department with additional personnel and be ready on the street should things occur where we do need to bring out additional weaponry in some unforeseen circumstance. At that point, we've got weapons we can utilize to keep the city and the personnel, the police personnel, safer as a result.
Because people always say, well, we should do this, but nobody wants to put the time in. They will fight for something, then it just sits there. So why not?
Council
Agreed.
President?
Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you. I know, Mr. Hartwick, did you ask your questions, or did you say anything?
Yeah, that's why Captain Bashir's here, because he had given me the answers earlier, and I wanted the council to have the benefit of those answers directly from the captain.
And the value of the new items that you're purchasing, what are the value, what is that value?
A shotgun like we spec'd out is roughly $1,000 apiece.
So the total cost for the new items are
It's in the
approximately?
resolution, but I think it's up to about $5,000.
So about $5,000. So, and I think I heard Council President ask, did you have it appraised? And you said you couldn't get it appraised.
I could tell you that it's probably worth it. If it were registered, we'd probably get $25,000 for it. But it's not. It's like having a total collector car. And at this point, the only thing that's usable is the engine and the rear axle and maybe the wheels. It's no longer, it can't be considered whole because you can't sell it whole. And the only other option, like I said, is one that I can't even fathom, which would be to hand it to state police where they melt it down.
Okay, and even when items go to museums, are all items donated, or sometimes museums actually pay?
Either way, that still means a change of ownership, and it comes out of our possession, which then I think the city would wind up resulting in a potential liability situation if anything were to happen to that weapon. Even
The
if
Machine
it,
Gun Registration Act wouldn't permit a transfer.
correct, because it means a change of ownership. Doesn't matter whether it's at $0 or $30.
So the point that the captain went over originally was that we had two Tommy submachine guns purchased in the late 20s by the department. One was registered by the department, and one, for whatever reason, was not registered. The one that was registered, we sold. That's the one that got $22-something thousand. The Machine Gun Registration Act permits a registered antique weapon to be transferred and sold. But because this one was unregistered, the Machine Gun Registration Act does not permit the transfer, sale, or change of ownership because it was never registered, so it's an illegal weapon.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Council President, if I may,
Councilman Jackson?
thank you for coming to tell us about this, Captain. But one in addition is that because it had not been registered, it's impossible to register it at this point.
Yeah, my education from pursuing this was that you had a 2-year window to register it in 1934, so that's come and gone.
Right. So,
But it's a 90-year-old weapon. We've had that weapon in our arsenal for almost a century now.
and I heard the business administrator say we purchased it. Those weren't confiscated in the course of police business?
No, they were purchased. They were actually originally spec'd out for the Navy.
Okay.
And then I guess the Navy at some point had their share of what they needed, so they were sold to the city of Orange. They have a serial number on it that reflects that they were Navy, going to be issued to the Navy. They adjusted the drum rate, so it went from spraying 150 rounds per minute, they adjusted it to a more friendly 650 rounds per minute.
Oh, sure.
So it's a devastating weapon, but
could
of no
imagine.
use to us.
Yes. And the only use is to collectors who can utilize the parts, as you explained.
Correct.
All right. And I heard you say that it would render the weapon ineffective, but inoperable is analogous in that it could not be put back together and turned into a whole machine gun.
No, it could never be put back together. So those particular parts get pieced out. So again, if I can use a totaled car as an analogy, you might have a great engine in an old Corvette. Someone
Yes.
else needs that engine, so they can put that engine in their car.
Yes.
But the rest of the chassis is unusable
All right.
and can't be.
All right. Thank you for that. I'm finished.
So you basically just sell it for parts and you don't think the parts will exceed 5,000?
No, because the only other way I could foresee is, we talked about Antique Roadshow, where we suddenly start seeing if we can get a bidder for each individual part, of which there's probably, when you strip a Thompson submachine gun, there's probably 30 usable parts on it. And logistically, I imagine that would be 90 estimates for 3, each part times 3, you know?
Any other questions, comments, council?
No, Council President, since I don't have any personal ties to the history of this. I just see it in a business sense. I understood the resolution from day one. I think we should just move forward. Research has been done. We can get some, the police department can get some gains out of it and the method in which they laid out for it. I'm supporting it 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments, questions? Captain, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
You too.
Thank you, Captain.
So, council members, are there any resolutions or ordinances on tonight's agenda that you wish to discuss? I guess the BA has a brief statement about one.
The Resolution 7, 2019, which made the agenda, I will be substituting a new resolution, the amounts for which are somewhat different. The resolution that was given was based upon using 24% of the prior year's budget. The statute for a temporary budget allows you to use 26.25%. So we recalculated the numbers, and that should be here.
This is, we have it on our desk. This is the one from the budget consultant. This is the one from the budget consultant?
The amendment?
No, the one you have on your desk is from the budget consultant.
This is the one, that's what I said,
The
this is the one
amended
from the
one,
budget
right.
consultant.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the one that the budget consultant is recommending.
These are the numbers that were put forth. If you look at the format, it has salary and wages, and then it has other expenses. What it doesn't have is the
Oh, no, this is the one.
So there's a new one coming, right? Okay.
Thank you. Your temporary budget resolutions in the past have always shown the aggregate previous budget line item amount in a column, so I was having that column added. So the numbers that you see here with regard to salaries and wages and other expenses, you'll also see on the new resolution, but you'll also see the column that gives you the total aggregate amount for each of the appropriations in the 2018 budget under those descriptions.
But the amount appropriated will be the same as what the budget consultant has recommended?
Yeah, so
Okay.
basically, you'll be able to do your own math.
No,
So
no, I
you'd
got
be
that.
able to look and say, oh, this is 26.25% of that number.
Okay.
And since that's the way the council was used to seeing it, that's how I had it amended.
Any other resolutions, ordinances, council members?
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman Neeson.
quick question, I don't guess if this is for the business administrator, Marty. 4-2019. Once this is approved tonight, how long would it take you before that house comes down?
Hopefully, we won't get a strong wind.
Hopefully, what? Yeah. True, very true.
I would say, I'm sorry, Marty Mays, Director of Planning, Development, and DPW, roughly maybe 2 weeks.
Really?
We already started working on, there's a bunch of things you have to do. You have to get a cutoff letter from PSC. All that is already in motion.
We also have to bait the area
Yep.
and do all the other prep.
I know, because I think I've been waiting 17 years for the house to come down. That's a long
Couple
time.
weeks is the best thing I could say.
Okay. I'm gonna watch, Marty.
Council President, before Director Mays leaves,
Yes,
I
Councilman.
do have one quick question on there. I'm just curious with, maybe you know more than me about how many companies in Essex County are in the vicinity. Why only 2 bids on this?
How can I answer that? I give you a good example. For the house that burnt down on Scotland Road, I reached out to about 6 people, and I got 6 responses. And what I try to do with these quotes is I try to make them even so nobody can say that there's anything. So I give them a deadline, and these are the ones that came within that deadline. But typically, I reach out to about 4 or 5.
Okay.
And just because people are in different locations, like Somerset County won't come here.
Right.
But I always reach out to at least 4 or 5. And you'll see at the next council meeting, I have a couple other ones where I got 5 full responses. So I do a quote sheet and I cut it off like a bid. So I say, you have to have it in by 4 today, so that way it's fair. Nobody can come back and say, oh, he handed his in yesterday and I handed.
But is it published, or you just doing this on your own?
This is an emergency demo, so I
Emergency
do
demo,
quote- quotes.
So can briefly just kind of, how does that work then?
If, like, for example, with the fire that just happened on Scotland Road, I woke up in the morning, I saw it on the news, and I went there first thing in the morning to see how bad it was. And the construction official deems it an imminent hazard or unsafe structure. That means he wants it down right away. So by the end of that day, I had 5 quotes.
Okay, thanks for explaining that.
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman.
through you to the clerk, Ms. Lanier, was this corrected, 4-2019?
4-2019.
This is the one where the account number was incorrect, and then...
Yes.
So
You
we have
an
the new
amended
one?
version on your desk.
We have a new version of it, okay.
You should have 2
Okay, I see.
amended versions.
Thank you.
All right, and then the, whatchamacallit sheet was
could I-
corrected too.
Right. Could I ask another quick question, President?
Yes, Councilwoman.
So does the city own that lot once the house comes down?
What'll happen is, this property is a bank-owned property, so after we tear it down, we'll put a lien on it.
And then we're
Okay.
gonna end up owning it. Because the bank isn't gonna, they'll probably give us what's called a deed in lieu to waive all the fees, and we'll just take the property and put it in the abandoned property program.
And also, you know from me going around there that I contacted the bank never responded.
Right,
And that's always one of my points to move forward for demolition. In writing, I contacted them.
Okay.
Any other resolutions, ordinances, council members?
Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman.
I just want to ask if we can make an amendment to an ordinance, maybe, possibly. Ordinance number 1.
I don't know, which ordinance are we referring to?
Number 1.
Ordinance number 1.
Number one, okay.
2018. You want to remove that? You ready?
Are you familiar with, Mr. B?
So I spoke
Yeah.
to the VA about it. I was just wondering if we could add, like, to the whereas, could we say whereas on so-and-so day, the citizens asked the council to amend this ordinance for permit parking. And they asked us by petition, because we just want to do that. And then I would like to know, since it's a cul-de-sac, could an official let us know that it's safe, that a fire truck or ambulance or something can get through there in case of a fire? And we could put that whereas so-and-so, like Director Douglas, fire director said on so-and-so day, it is safe for us to let an ambulance or a fire truck go through this area.
I didn't even think of that. I'm just like, that.
And I think that would be like a good idea.
And you can move forward to introduce if the council, I'm sorry. I have no problem with the
We need
amendment.
the petition.
Pardon?
We need the petition.
I thought there was a petition.
No, the petition not attached.
I know
Just,
this it's been a back and forth, because when it was done, I'm not sure if it was done correctly.
Okay.
So I have to do my research to see if there was a petition, but the amount of calls that we have received.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can just print those out, because I forward them all to you, right?
Yeah, I've only gotten about 27.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if that suffices.
I mean, what you could do at this point is we can hold it, do the amendment, have the fire official do the inspection, bring it back on the 15th with the petition and the fire official's recommendation, all right? And that should address all of the issues that are on the table.
So can I ask him? Go ahead.
I have a question after you.
So whenever a cul-de-sac comes up, can we always just make sure that some official said that a fire
Well,
truck could get in? Could we-
Actually, I think that we should be doing it whenever we change the parking regulations, because we have tight streets. So if we're going to change parking regulations at various times of the day, then we should be aware of whether or not there's an impact on the ability of emergency vehicles to transverse the area. So I'll just add that as a checklist item going forward on all parking ordinances.
Okay.
And my question, Council President through Council President to BA, I know the residents were concerned because they were getting tickets, so is there a way to?
So I instructed the department today by email. I asked them to abate enforcement until we work this out on here and on East Clark Street.
Yes, it's thank you.
what's Monica?
That was already done.
Okay. Thank you.
And I also took care of the car that's been parking there all the time that shouldn't be parking there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Council President.
Now, Council President,
Yes, Councilwoman Williams?
just supposed to say.
It's not in there.
Oh, got you. Okay, all right, no, wait. Okay, it's not.
I think it's a look at all of it.
Okay, got you. I was just, so it's not, so it's not in there in terms of the, in our ordinance, there's nothing in there regarding driveways as of yet.
No.
But once we get to that point, we're gonna end up going back.
The driveways.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So it's not in there.
And as an administrative matter, we've sort of been enforcing that by asking for proof. Because we don't want to end up with a whole bunch of permits issued
Right.
and then have to pull them back.
And so, in this case, is it, so we're actually doing third and fourth cars? Right.
Yeah.
So, person,
Still.
or whatever, if the driving permits one, second, third, and fourth, okay.
Yeah. And the other thing that we're getting a lot of pushback on, just so everybody knows, I think I've had 11 today, people who have been denied on-street parking permits because they do not have documents, either a registration or driver's license, that match the address. So, lots of them. Lots and lots of them.
Okay.
Good.
And we still have to make the amendments for the
Yeah.
consideration?
We have several amendments we need to make, but we want to give them to you all at once.
Okay. Okay.
Any other resolutions, ordinances, council members? That's it. Madam Clerk?
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Johnson Jr. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned, 7:39. This is a regular meeting of the City Council of Orange Township held in Council Chambers, City Hall, 29 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, on Thursday, January 3rd, 2019, following the conference meeting. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilwoman Easton?
Here.
Councilman Jackson?
Here.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Here.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Here.
Councilwoman Williams?
Present.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Here.
Council President Coley?
Present.
Also-
And before we move forward, I was just informed that we had a firefighter that was struck by a vehicle out in front of fire headquarters. So let's be mindful of their speedy recovery for this firefighter. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Also present, Joyce Lanier, the city clerk, Chris Hartwick, the business administrator, Gracia Montillis, the city attorney, Adrian Mapp, the finance director, Marty Mays, planning and public works director, Todd Warren, police director, Marlon G. Towns, legislative research officer, and Lisette Sanchez, record support technician. The requirements of 10:4-9 et sec, the Sunshine Law, has been met. A notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, published in the Record Transcript on July 12, 2018, posted on bulletin board in City Hall, and filed in the office of the city clerk. Approval of the meeting minutes. October 16, 2018, conference and regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Johnson Jr., second by Councilman Jackson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Reports. Department of Community Service for the month of November collected $17,880. Constable reports. Mohammed Tori had no activity in November. Richard Noisy had no activity, on November 4th and 5th did church security, and November 25th did the monthly meeting. There are no open reports, council reports.
Finance, anything?
Council President, while we do the Finance Committee, to the clerk, can you ask Mr. Fields to bring up the resolution that we passed from 8/2019? Because that should have been attached so we could show what we're rescinding.
Okay.
All right, can you just text that? You wanna do it? Okay. You want me to do it? Yeah. No, it's for 8/29. That's number 8, right?
That's
Want me
it.
to do it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's what I
Yeah,
see.
I
Okay,
have a copy of the-
okay. The Finance Committee met on yesterday, January 2nd, 2019. In attendance were myself, Councilman Jackson, Mr. Hartwick, Mr. Montellis, Mr. Matt, Mrs. Perkins, Mr. Fields. We discussed the contracts that have to be up for renewal, so on our next meeting will be, the clerk did an RFQ for the budget consultant, received one response, and that will be on the agenda at the next meeting. RFQ will be going out tomorrow for our legislative research officer. Mr. Hartwick and Mrs. Lanier, did you guys get a chance to talk about the agenda?
I didn't have a chance to that.
Okay, so at the next meeting, we'll have an update about our agenda software. Our contract for our website, there had to be some further research on it. Mr. Mapp, did you get a chance to do that?
I am Adrian Mapp, Director of Finance. Counselor, I will have to get back to you on that.
Okay, so that'll be at the next meeting?
It will be before the next meeting.
I mean, but so the whole council know what this?
Yes,
Okay.
certainly.
All right. Thank you. And you've already stated the corrective action plan will be presented at the next meeting?
Correct.
Actually, the minutes were correct, the minutes were correct, so disregard line 2. Mr. Hartwick, 61-2018, you said you had a document, a subordinate document to go with 61-2018 about the parking lot? On the finance, on the revenue?
Yeah, I didn't, my day got
Okay.
completely screwed, so I did not have an opportunity to present that, but I will present it to the council and post it on the website.
So it'll just be a bird's eye view of revenue coming in from the parking deck?
Basically, it'll show you, it's a comparative that will show you the difference between the revenue in the regular pilot agreement versus the agreement we put forward, and how it exceeds the statutory mandatory minimum.
Okay. 2019, that was based on the tax rate, and there's a range you can go up, and we did the maximum amount per, that statutory allows. We talked about the demolition on 434 Parkinson already, and it was corrected, and the corrected document is on your desk. 5/2018 deals with the appraisal services, and was there some updates with the appraisal one?
We're just going to hold it to the 15th,
Okay, so 5/2018 will be postponed, or?
just held to the 15th. I wanted to make sure that we provided all of the supporting documentation on the RFQ.
Okay. On 6, and that should be 5/2019, sorry about the type, and 6/2019, the labor list, those, this is a conflict list for labor attorneys. RFQ went out, and these are the ones that responded. 7/2019 is a temporary budget, and again, we discussed it earlier, how we get to those numbers. 8/2019, the clerk has asked the staff bring up the resolution which was passed, which just speaks to we're rescinding, and this is just being rescinded because after going back, there were not items there, so we couldn't move forward with it, so we're rescinding it. And 9/2019, the bill list is amended about the cameras, but the only thing, we pulled the resolution for the cameras, Mr. Hartwick.
Yeah, I've had an opportunity to look at them. The clerk provided them to me at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, so are we going to use the old bill list, or what do we have to do?
Technically, it appears as though we would have to do a resolution ratifying the maintenance contract, because from what I could see from the 2012 resolution, there's no mention of the maintenance contract. It predates me, so I think what we should do, even though the maintenance contract is less than the $40,000 limit for a QPA, we should probably do a resolution ratifying and going forward. We're not going to get rid of the cameras, so we need to do the maintenance contract.
So we're going to use the amended bill list,
Yeah.
and then at a subsequent meeting, the 15th, we'll
The
do a
15th,
resolution.
we'll do a resolution ratifying.
Got you, okay. And that concludes the meeting. And it'll be up, the supporting document will be up, okay.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anything from planning?
No,
ABC?
no.
The library?
Not at this time, Council President.
Anything from the housing?
They are meeting right now, so no.
Okay. Public Works Committee? Nothing? Police Director?
Good evening, Todd Warren, Director of Police. We'll be real brief tonight. We have, first of all, Happy New Year. Glad
To you too,
everybody had a
Director.
Safe New Year. We have 10 recruits that started the academy today in Bergen County, and we have 6 more that are going to start in April in Passaic County. And I want to thank the men and women of the Orange Police Department and all of you who supported our toy drive. It's a successful toy drive. We had over 700 families came through. It was a really good time, and we look forward to doing it again. A really great event.
Thank you. Any questions for the director?
Hey,
Council
Council
members?
President,
Yes, Councilman Johnson.
I did get a chance to meet 3 of those recruits. I just happened to had an appointment over Mr. Fisher, and Mayor introduced me to 3 of the recruits. That was really nice. But when it comes to the numbers, not names and positions, are we kind of stopping the dike of losing some older guys and not replacing them fast enough with boots on the ground?
Yes, we are. That's
So it's
the main
kinda-
objective.
We're finally
Yes.
getting to where
We need to be.
we get
Yes.
6 retirements and 7 new guys in.
7 or more, yeah.
We were there a year ago.
A year ago?
So these 11 who will go into the academy plus 3 direct hires, or 10 in the academy and 3 direct hires, will give us a net gain, based on the retirements that we are aware of now, a net gain of 7.
Right. 3 are police officers already, so they're going to get
Okay.
in-service training and go right on the street.
Okay. I'm becoming a historian on good things changing in the town. Sometimes I got to pry it out of you guys because I really don't know, but I'm not shocked at your response. So I'm glad to see that we're turning a corner on it.
Yes.
On that one specific thing,
Yes.
we're turning the corner. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Any other questions, council members?
Council President, if I
Yes,
may. Just so the
yeah.
council's aware, the planning that we've put in place with regard to police and fire, you should never be in a situation where you have to hire 22 guys. You have to hire in groups, small groups on an annual basis in order to keep pace so that you don't end up with brain drain or experience drain in any one given year. And that's the program that we've put in place for both police and fire.
Thank you, Mr. B.A.
Any other comments, questions?
I did, yeah, I'm getting like, Councilman Johnson, you gotta pull this stuff out of you. I know I was half asleep listening to FiOS like 5 o'clock this morning, and, they announced a substantial amount of, drug bust that was done here in Orange, marijuana. Yeah.
Well, it's an ongoing investigation. I wanted to wait till everything was done.
Well, FiOS is announcing it.
Yeah. Well, they only have part of it.
Yeah, well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
even that part of it, it was, I think they used the number 1 million. I want to say they used a million street value that they
Close,
did,
close,
yeah,
yeah.
that they used this morning, and I kept rewinding. I said, did they say Orange? And I didn't know that, but yeah, it was on FiOS this morning in terms of apprehension that was made here. So kudos to that.
Any other questions, comments for the police director? Director, Happy New Year to you.
You
We'll be
too.
talking to you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Have a good evening.
And I'm sorry, Director, yeah, because you didn't just do the toy drive, you did Christmas morning as well. Yeah,
You know
I'm
what?
like-
I'm tired, and I forgot, no. Excuse me.
Yeah, you did, right?
Yeah, you're right. I'm tired. I'm going to go down to the hospital and check on our firefighter after this, but I am tired. We did 6 families on Christmas morning at, I was up, I think, 5 o'clock.
Right.
And it brought great joy to see the smiles on the families' faces. We woke them up. They were in bed, but, you know, it was well worth it. It was well worth it. We did 6 families. Hopefully next year we can do more, but it was a really good toy drive. And I want to thank the Marine Corps also. The
Exactly.
Marine Corps partnered with us, a number of community-based organizations, churches, and even some council folks sent people in, so it was really good. Next year, I would like to do it in a bigger venue, because our police department is kind of small, and it was very hot, but it was really good.
And that, because oftentimes people don't know, because you had the general, where people came in, but this was more of specified and it got to do, and just to let people know what's going on in town, because oftentimes people don't know. And so I wish we did it here, but we are doing it here.
Yeah,
So it is
and-
important.
And one of our objectives is to do more than just lock up suspects. We want to get more involved in community service, actually doing for the community, and change the face of policing, actually.
Council President?
Councilwoman Eason?
Director, I was there, so I want to thank our police officers that participated. The Santa Claus was a police officer, Batman was a police officer, so they all got involved, and they were really, some of the officers brought their children, so that was great to see the teamwork and the team building that night, and the residents were very patient. We didn't have people yelling and screaming, they took their time, they came through.
Right, well
in a-
organized.
Yeah, in a very calm manner, so it went great.
And in terms of the partnership, a good thing happened. Our Santa Claus served as Santa Claus for the Mayor's Toy Drive, and we helped out with the the fire department as well. So it's just an example of us all working together.
There's only one Santa Claus, sir.
That's right.
There's only one Santa Claus.
Yeah.
That's a myth.
You can change the elves out, man, but it's only one Santa.
Santa Claus.
So it was great, it was great affair.
This is a PG program, children are watching.
Yeah, there's only one Santa
There's
Claus.
only one Santa Claus.
But once again, I want to thank the men and women of the Orange Police Department, and thank the residents, thank everyone for all that they've done. We've had a pretty challenging year, but the residents played a major part in any and all successes that we had, because they utilize our anonymous tip line. They've been reaching out, the lines of communication are open, so any success that we have is attributed to the folks in this room, the residents, and the men and women of the Orange Police Department. And that's what happens when the community comes together.
Council President,
Councilwoman Wooten?
very, very quickly, I just want to say that this is not the first time, he doesn't tell this story, like, this is not the first time they went out for Santa. And if you've been a part of that, like, to actually go to someone's house, to walk down the hall, and Santa Claus is saying, ho, 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 and people are opening the doors, and people are afraid, and big people like us are running back and trying to go to sleep. But the look that you see on the children's faces when Santa gets in with those gifts is, like, priceless. So this is not his first time, but sometimes our good stories don't get told in Orange, but that's like a good thing that happens, like, since you've been the director of the police department, as far as I know.
And it's also good to knock on the door, the police knock on your door, and it's not to apprehend your parent
Right.
or a sibling, but to say, hey, good morning, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, here's a gift for you. So like, that's part of changing the face of policing. So it was a good experience. I didn't have my coffee that morning, but it was a good experience, and I look forward to doing it again.
And let them know that Channel 12 covered it on the news.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Director.
Council President?
Yes, Councilwoman.
I just wanted to, on the 28th, the Public Works Committee did meet, and it was just to discuss amendments, suggested amendments to the snow plan, to the current snow plan, and it will be presented to this council soon come. And I know, just looking at this weather that's coming up right now, although it'll be just rain for us, we need to be ready, because we had such a mild winter thus far.
Yep, thank you. No representatives from the fire department? Nope.
Because of the incident.
They brought it to the hospital.
No, he's police.
At the hospital.
Okay, that's it.
It was the lady firefighter that was.
Communications and petitions, there were none received.
But she's doing okay. It's a lot of pain, but she's gonna hopefully be okay.
Pursuant to Section 4-10 of the Code of the City of Orange Township, each person addressing the council shall step up to the microphone, shall give his or her name and address in an audible tone for the record, and unless further time is granted by the presiding officer, shall limit his or her address to 5 minutes. The public is expected to conduct themselves in a proper manner, and the derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted. The chair will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate any further comments.
Thank you, sir. Jeff Fells?
Good evening and Happy New Year on behalf
To
of
you
my
too.
family. My name is Jeffrey Feld. I'm a local businessman, attorney, and a mortgagee whose local business address is 268 Main Street, Orange, New Jersey. Besides Happy New Year, my condolences to Councilperson Williams, because I heard today about the passing of your grandmother. As my custom, I delivered a heads-up memo to the council and various other parties on Monday. I incorporate herein all the questions, whether they'll be answered. The only supplemental question I have is, after looking at the bill list, who is vested land services and why are we paying them $55,218.59? Since the submission of my memo on Monday, there are certain things I'd like to point out to the council and to the audience. One, there was a very interesting editorial in the New Jersey Law Journal about the duty to notify your clients if you committed legal malpractice. I was shocked by this editorial, but I recommend people look at it. Also, since Monday, Judge Koblitz, and the panelist that she was, issued 2 binding published opinions. I recommend that the council read them. Also, they issued a new booklet for the ICL seminars, and it's interesting that the 3 judges who are talking about appellate advocacy are Judge Masano, Judge Koblitz, and Judge Fasili, who all had cases involving Orange, and the opinions that they've issued in the last 2 or 3 years really affect what's happening. So that ties into certain things I think the public needs to know. On December 21st, 2018, Orange filed a complaint asking for a declaratory judgment regarding the calendar year 2018 FBI subpoenas. I am named as the only respondent in the case. I've not been served in that case yet. I discussed that in my memo. Also, on Friday the 28th, there was a business roundtable. Notices were issued late. Only 4 business people, 2 being from Sandwiches, attended. But at that meeting, as I set forth in my memo, the BA contradicted some of the statements made by Councilwoman Williams, and the public needs to understand that, and the council has to understand what the BA said about our pilots and the questions about them. On Wednesday, that was yesterday, I filed a new complaint, Feld 18. I delivered copies to the clerk today. Because of the 20-day estoppel period, I'm challenging some questions about the rec center transaction and the discussion about whether we're entitled to answers during second reading public hearings on ordinances and the limitations on that. That's just a statement. Today, I received a letter from the city denying, claiming a privilege as to the calendar year 2018 FBI subpoenas, my access to it under OPRA and the Open Common Law Public Access Doctrine. Not only was the letter addressed to me, but it was also addressed to the Star Ledger. Everyone should understand it's taken basically 6 months to get that denial. The question is, as of 4:30 today, I don't know if the lawsuit that was filed on the 21st has been withdrawn, but I think the letter renders that moot, and therefore I need to be released so I can file a complaint, and the Star Ledger can file a complaint, so we can have a determination as to the privilege. There's still questions as to the Feld 5 settlement. There was a representation made to the Appellate Division on February 7th. In addition, I request that you make retention resolutions in the Feld 10 remand case and the Feld 18 matter that was just filed. Take into account the New Jersey Law Journal editorial that was published this Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. Ms. Sherry Hen? Did I mispronounce your last name?
Hennett.
Hennett? Okay, I apologize. Thank you.
Hi, how are you? Happy
Good
New
evening.
Year, everyone.
To you too.
Cherie Hennett, new resident, new homeowner to 780 East Clark Place. And one of the issues, it's not an issue, we were speaking momentarily about the parking, and I just wasn't clear because I couldn't hear about what was being added or deleted to that parking. So I want to just wanted clarity before I left about what was going to be changed.
The ordinance that we were discussing was for Tremont, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, not for East Clark.
Not East, okay, not the cul-de-sac there, so everything will still remain the same, okay.
Except that until the proper signage is put in place.
No tickets,
Correct.
okay. Thank you very much, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
And if any of the neighbors receive tickets, they can contact my office, and we will address that issue.
On this part?
On East Clark,
East Clark, okay, yeah.
correct.
East Clark Place.
East Clark Place.
Place and
Correct.
circle,
Right, okay.
It's the same regulatory process.
Okay.
And I'll give you my card, just in case you need it.
And welcome to Orange.
Is there a motion to close citizen comments?
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Johnson Jr. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Council comments.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson.
Yes.
It does work?
It should be working.
It wasn't working last time. Can she hear it?
Can you hear? She said no.
Can I move to that seat? Is that?
Sure.
This is not working.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This feels important. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. This holiday for me was really different. My kids are little and they're getting older, and so I stay politically correct. Santa, right? So when my youngest was making his list, I shared it with everyone because it let me know the simple things. Number one on his list was cookies, and number two was milk. And it let me know that's what was important to him. And it just made me look at things differently. He also wanted a Christmas floor. I didn't know what that was, but I realized it was a welcome mat with Santa Claus on it. And the first gift he opened was the Oreo cookies, a whole pack, and a gallon of milk. And he didn't want to open anything else, and I couldn't believe it. But what I say all this to say, we get mixed up in things that are not simple. And I remember last May, I was criticized for doing too much social work, and B.A. Chris can attest, because I text him all day, night, weekend. I have absolutely no respect for his time, right? But most of the texts and things that I send him is social work type issues, and it's not my fault if that's what residents are reaching out. So I walk differently since Christmas, since the new year, and all of the deaths and things that are going on in our community. I drove past the fire department when they had the line for the kids for the toys, and my kids were in the car, and they rolled the windows down, and they were just in amazement because they were like, what are they online for? So we were getting ready to go someplace, or I would have brought them inside, but they're just understanding kids that have and don't have, and that my kids would have been on that you know what I mean? Like, they would have been on the line. They're just trying to understand. So they got to serve for Thanksgiving, but it's something that all kids need to see and need to understand, that the holiday is about, giving. So January 1st in my classroom and in the city of Orange and all over the world is Haitian Independence Day. 90% of my students are Haitian, so it's really an interesting race of people that their slaves were able to beat up their oppressors. And it's the soup that I didn't get from anyone, but their soup is very interesting on that day. So I wanted to say that. Now, I just want to clear up, because I love clearing up rumors, but the South Ward meetings that happen every month, that have been happening every month for the past 5 years, are open to any Orange resident, any ward, any friend of Orange. If you used to live in Orange and you want to come, or you're moving to Orange and you want to find out, I don't check ID. I used to have my meetings at Haywood Avenue School, and honestly, the space was too big. I averaged 20 to 30 residents. So when
it came up that I could use Our Lady of the Valley. I thought that was great, more intimate, smaller setting. And my first meeting there was basically for Valley residents because they wanted a meeting. There was a lot of crime at the time. So that meeting was geared towards them. But September and on have been just issues in the South Ward, and for the directors that come, any resident that asks a question, they answer it. So my next meeting is January 24th, and that is at Our Lady of the Valley Church. There's ample parking. You can address any questions ahead of time so I can make sure I have that director there. But I just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. And I want to say on Christmas Eve, I parked on Main Street at the bottom because I had a lot of stuff to do. So for the residents that think like there's nothing on Main Street, I don't understand when people say that because I don't get it. But there are certain things you can get on Main Street that you can't get in the mall, or if you get it in the mall, it might be more, it might cost more. So I would like to encourage residents to shop on Main Street, and I shopped on Main Street on the 1st, and I called Public Works because the thing was taken off like for free parking. And I was like, they took it off on the 1st, but I didn't realize they take it off right after Christmas. But I just want to encourage that because I had a whole bunch of bags and everyone I was walking around had a lot of bags. So I think, again, like Councilman Johnson said, I see a turning, I see a shift, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Summers Johnson. Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, Council President.
Yes.
So again, Happy New Year. And I told Attorney Montellis this is a 9 p.m. meeting tonight, so he's holding me. He's holding me to that. And as always, you know, Circle of Life, you know, we come to living and saying our goodbyes. So I want to send my condolences to the family of Val Thurston, who passed, and her funeral will be tomorrow at Cotton's. And then also to my Aunt Audrey, who passed, who was my Aunt Betty Baltimore partner, and sending love out Aunt Audrey and family. Also, I had, my grandmother passed on Christmas, December 4th. Her birthday's on December 3rd. And we had our birthday party for her on December 4th, and she turned 104 years old. So, needless to say, she has lived a full life. She left St. Croix, came to New York for a brief period, and has been in Orange ever since then. She's lived on in the East Ward all of that time, with the exception of at the White House Nursing Home, but on South Street, and God, I can never think of the street right off of Main. Thank you. I can never think of Canfield. Crane is in my mind. That's a Crane on Canfield, and then to Oakwood Avenue, and then she lived out her days at White House Nursing Home. But just 104 years in life, so let you know that I have the potential to be with you guys for a long time. A long time. And just to think that span of life, and for the most part, you know, one of the constant things that my grandmother would say is that she walked everywhere. And then to hear people, they would say, Miss Williams, you could see her walking up and down Main Street, everybody knew her, and, you know, until the end, and basically, she just passed away restfully in her sleep. So thankful for a long longevity, and thankful for all the words of kindness about my grandmother, memories, and it was just a really good day just to have family come together from near and far. So thank everybody. And then later on, we will be doing a letter just to honor her life, so that those coming behind me can see their grandmothers, and how my grandmother, how she came over from the Virgin Islands and lived here, and all of that she was able to accomplish. And as my cousin stated, that she was also known, she was also a babysitter for a period of time, and she was called Orange Nanny. So Orange is in us, you know, Caribbean and Orange, New Jersey. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wooten.
Council President, First of all, I want to say happy holidays to the residents and everybody here. So no matter what you celebrate, if it was Kwanzaa, if it was Christmas, if it was Hanukkah, happy holidays to you and yours. Secondly, I'd like to thank everybody for their thoughts and cards and prayers. For my mother, she has a good slate of health right now. She's 84 years old, so thank you for that. And basically, I'm just proud to be a part of this council and proud to be a part of this council right now as I see a positive change within the council. And that's it. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Councilwoman Eason. We'll give you an extra minute.
Thank you, Council President. Say, age and longevity has its privileges. Thank you. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. And hopefully, I'm looking forward to a good, healthy, safe, collaborative new year and more team building so that we can all work together to make this city great again, like making United States great again.
All right.
And also, my prayers goes out to the firefighter that was hit, but one of the things that has come up, and Business Administrator Hartwick, I'll probably follow up with you in the county tomorrow, is that when you go to the other firehouses like East Orange, I know it's in East Orange, and they have stoplights when the trucks are entering, and we don't have that. I understand that the county had put up the pole to put those lights in place and never finished it. So I think we need to have them finish that so that when the firefighters are leaving, all traffic stops.
I got it.
So I'll be following up with you tomorrow and get in touch with the county to make sure we can make that happen so that we can keep our firefighters safe. And one of the other things, I think Councilwoman Simmons Johnson brought up the signs that East Orange had, that each merchant purchased those signs. So why can't we do something like that? They paid for them, they paid to put it up, and they put their names on it, so it's advertisement for them. Maybe that's a project we can, because they do look very nice. It lets you know where East Orange starts and ends, and it's a great information tool. So I'm looking forward for some new projects this year that's gonna make us a better city and better cooperation and concerns for our residents to make sure they're happy and getting what they need and that we are providing the services. I had a fire in Elizabeth Street on Saturday, and I stopped through there, and the family was displaced. And we also need to talk about our EMS group. I thought we were going to do something with that, because I think I sort of insulted them.
It's out.
Because I told them how lousy I thought they were, but.
It's out for bid.
So, but anyway, so let's move forward with doing something about that also. And that's all.
Thank you. Councilwoman. Councilman Jackson.
Thank you very much, Council President. I'd like to extend also my best wishes for for 2019. It's come already, 2019, man. It really sounds futuristic. You know, I'm not going to say how old everybody is here, but just think that since we've been around, home computers have been invented, CDs, cassette tapes, I mean, we've seen a lot happen. So
8-track.
8-track, I mean, just thinking, just a lot of things. Pagers, who used to have a pager?
Pager and a phone call.
Cell phones, nobody even thought about cell phones. Everybody's got at least one computer in their pocket or their purse now. So, these things have come along so quickly, and 2019 is a year, as you talk about making the Orange great again, it's going to be greater than it's ever been. That's what I'm saying. And we could never bring it back to the way it was, because we're different people in different times. And, I'm looking forward to how things advance. The efficiency of our government is, becoming evident, and in each department, I think, has improved, and we continue to make progress. I'm looking forward to that. As America makes a transition federally in another, I don't know what the heck's going on, but we'll see. New Jersey and Orange, New Jersey are going to be better in 2019, and this is going to be a great year to be a part of this body. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to, everyone under the sound of my voice, I want to wish them a happy new year, and I'm looking forward to a challenging year ahead we have. But some exciting thing took place in Washington, D.C. today. Congress swore in a whole bunch of new Congress people, and the diversity and passion and vision that is coming across when people speak. I had an opportunity to catch the swearing in of a lady speaker in the Congress, and it was really emotional. It kind of reminded me the first time I got sworn in, and I think that spark is there for all of us. We're not going into an election year. All of us are seasoned legislators, so we need to step our game up. I want to thank you, Council President, really for pulling us together. I mean, with your leadership, I don't want to sound like the Trumpian guy sitting around the table, man, but I know what it takes sometimes to manage different personalities and so forth in an environment where everybody is equal. But you stayed the course. You believed in us. You gave us the assignments. Now everybody needs to, including myself, step up and represent our constituents, do the work that we have to do, and work with the mayor and the administration to make sure we deliver on the needs of our constituents. So I think we're on the right path. Some of the things we weren't worried about and now got some momentum, and we can put some more fire to it. But I'm looking forward to working with each 6 of my council colleagues, and that we can really roll up our sleeves and make 2019 a real banner year for the town. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. I'll be quick. I just want to just say a Happy New Year to everyone. I just hope that everyone had a safe and enjoyable, holiday season and Christmas and New Year. And I just want to say that it's an honor and a privilege to be sitting just with this body, with this governing body right here. It's an honor and a privilege, and I do not take no moments lightly. And I think those warm words for Councilman Johnson. I do my best, and I will continue to do my best, for long as I am able to serve. Mr. B.A. and Madam Clerk, the new recycling schedule that was recently printed out and it's in Public Works, do we think we can get that on the city website?
Yep.
Okay. And Councilwoman Williams, my deepest condolences for your loss. I didn't get a chance to talk to you, but my deepest condolences to you and your family for your loss.
Thank you.
And I want to use this moment as a teachable moment. We have had several fires here in Orange, and I just want to express to people, especially those who rent apartments, if you do not have apartment insurance, you are doing yourself and your family a disservice. This is a great time to check with your insurance carrier, your auto insurance, your life insurance carrier may offer apartment insurance. This is a great time to get it. It's pretty relatively inexpensive, but when tragedy strikes unexpectedly, at least you have something to try and to kind of help you get back on your feet. And it is well worth it. It's just not for fires. If you have a break-in, if you have any other type of incident at your home, your policy could possibly help you through that particular incident. And Mr. B.A. and Mr. Matt, the closing of the federal government, has it affected any services as of yet here in Orange that you know of? Not just yet. Okay. I think that's all I have, Madam Clerk. Thank you.
Ordinance on second reading, public hearing. 61-2018. Ordinance of the City of Orange Township approving a garage lease agreement with DNR Orange Urban Renewal LLC, providing for a 30-year lease by the city of a portion of a proposed two-level parking garage with 3-year extension option of 10 years each. Are there any citizens who wish to speak?
Motion to close citizens' comments.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Johnson Jr. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt on final?
Move.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Johnson Jr. On the motion?
On the motion?
Seeing none, roll call. Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Coley?
Yes.
So ordinance, the first reading, are we just pulling this and resubmitting it the next time with the amendments and all the, okay. So 1/2019 has been withdrawn. Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the items will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. I believe 5-2019 was postponed to January 15th.
Correct.
Yes. 7-2019 is being pulled for a separate vote because it's amended, and 9-2019 is amended as well. Are there any other items the council wish to pull for a separate vote? The consent agenda now consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, 2019. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Eason, second by Councilwoman Wooten. On the motion?
On the motion?
Seeing none, roll call. Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Coley?
Yes.
7-2019 has been amended. The amendments were discussed earlier in discussion. I'll read the title. Resolution establishing temporary budget appropriations for calendar year 2019. Is there a motion to adopt?
Move as amended.
Second.
Second, motion to adopt as amended by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Johnson Jr. On the motion?
On the motion?
Seeing none, roll call. Councilwoman Eason?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Coley?
Yes.
9-2018 has been amended,
2019.
2019, sorry.
I've been doing that all day.
All day, right.
The previous total was $2,788,886.31. The new grand total is $2,817,145.03. And what was added into the bill list was on page 4, Let's Think Wireless. The total amount is $28,258.72. Is there a motion to adopt as amended?
Move.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Johnson Jr. On the motion?
On the motion,
On the motion?
Councilwoman Williams?
Mr. Feld asked a question, do we have, what is that, what
Yeah,
page?
it's the vested land. It was the closing on the garage property next to Colgate Park that we used open space funds for. And we closed on that property last week. And that property will be added to Colgate Park.
Which is
So,
gonna be a skate park.
A skate park.
Correct.
right.
On the
Roll
motion?
Roll call, Councilwoman Easton?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson Jr.?
Yes.
Councilwoman Summers Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wooten?
Yes.
Council President Coley?
Yes.
Is there any new business?
Council President?
Councilwoman Williams?
I had forgot to do two things. I want to congratulate, Councilman Johnson talked about what happened in DC today, but I think this is the largest delegation we've sent to DC from New Jersey, so congratulations on the constituents of New Jersey on casting their vote and making it known what they want in terms of representation. Also congratulate all those that were sworn in today in Essex County. We have a new and yesterday, we have a new surrogate, and if we can have our clerk, I've already spoken to them, reach out so he can come and address the city council. And in terms of his goals and his visions, he knows that, Judge Stevens, he had did some awesome things in that, in the surrogate office, so he has a great work to continue. And finally, I failed to mention my condolences to the Payne family. Former Assemblyman Bill Payne lost his daughter, and her funeral is this Saturday in East Orange, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any pending business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Williams, second by Councilman Johnson Jr. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned, 8:32.
That's a record. That's a record. 2019, here we come. Start the new year.
Okay, and so when that question will be addressed, we'll put the numbers in there. You're gonna say the right of
It's crazy. She's feeling a lot better, man. I brought her home around 2:30 or so. They ruled out everything.
Okay,
attacking the problem that's unique to each individual older adult.
More than just dental visits, the goal is to
Believe me, I can always dream.
can you make sure we get the Word documents? Please, thank you.
Where's that son? No, you guys are showing out.
2011, every day 10,000 baby boomers turn 65, and for nearly half of older Americans, Social Security is their main source of income. Charitable organizations may be able to test an oral health care solution, But experts suggest bringing a network to scale will require changes in public policy.
The easiest way to provide this care is the Medicare program. Emergency care, preventive services, restorations, and maybe even limited, denture types of care. And that would be the beginning. At least they would have the ability to say, I have some insurance.
According to Switzer, it's a matter of priorities.
If older adults are covered, if you eliminate the financial barrier and they have access to clinics, they will get healthier. It's time to recognize that the health that we have in our mouth is a reflection of the health of the rest of our body. Having good oral health shouldn't be a privilege. It should be something that all of us can access.
We've learned a lot about what it will take to maintain a healthy mouth and, as a consequence, a healthy body. What we can do as individuals is important, but if we're going to change the state of oral health in Tennessee, it's going to take a broader effort. For more information and to see all of Nashville Public Television's Aging Matters series, visit our website at wnpt.org/agingmatters. Thanks for watching.